I spent the last 20 years in the high-tech industry working from one of the biggest corporates in the world for Intel. I had a very unusual career, moving from one division to another. I used to be part of Intel manufacturing, Intel IT, the chipset organization, the CPU organization, and then landed in what then brought me to the cyberspace, which was the ecosystem and enablement team. We started with the business platforms, we started with the enterprise software, and then we found out that one of the biggest problems that the industry is suffering is basically cyber attacks from different types, different flavors. We quickly realized that we have a unique knowledge. We have the ability to understand the industry from inside out, from looking on the different ISVs, which are the Microsoft of the world, Checkpoints, etc., and Lenovo and HP. But not only that, to understand the full end-to-end solution from the firmware all the way to the cloud, which again gives us a very holistic view on things. The reason for me deciding to leave Intel after 20 years, it was a tough decision. It was basically leaving a very comfort place. Most people think about it as challenging your own comfort zones. And you know, Intel...
Which Israelis really like to do.
Yes. But after a while, and after meeting my partner today, Ben Winner, I figured out that the best for me is to challenge myself and others and establish a new VC focused only on cybersecurity, where we do something which is very unique. We're not only investing in cyber startups externally, we're also conceiving some of those ideas internally, building a studio around them, and then forming a team and launching them as a separate startups.
What is your philosophy of picking up the startups? What are you looking for?
First and foremost, we believe that a cyber startup should be easy to explain. Easy to explain meaning if I'm asking my grandmother or my mother what is this startup doing, she should be able to explain it. Most people treat cyber as the thing, but they need to remember that cyber is something that should be very seamless to the end user. So number one is easy to explain, be able to explain it in plain English. Number two is easy to deploy. Easy to deploy means the startup needs to add zero burden to the IT, to the organization that is actually implementing those methods. And number three, easy to use, which thinks basically on the end user, you and me, in the corporate world, in the automotive world, in the IoT world. It needs to be completely seamless. That's our basically the three E's philosophy. Needless to say that we are looking for those that have game-changing ideas, which means we're looking on the spark in the eyes of the entrepreneur. If someone is coming and is very slow and lame and say, yeah, I want to make a change, it won't work. This person needs to have the spark in the eyes, how to drive the idea and how to implement it.
Cyber in Israel is very hot. It's more than $1 billion has been invested in cyber companies. It's 22% growth year on year.
Correct.
Why is Israel so uniquely positioned in the cyberspace?
Israel is positioned, I think, better than other locations in the world simply because we started early. Most people know that we live in a tough neighborhood. And as a result, if in the past the traditional warfare was around new weapons, new machinery, etc., today the whole warfare scene is moving into the cyberspace. So Israel was the first to test and first to battle in those domains. As a result, the pipeline goes all the way from academia to the army, units like 802.100, 8.1, etc., all the way to the presence of multinational companies in Israel, the presence of so many startups around us, the heavy involvement of the academia in cyber, and I think the mix of all of that creates a very unique opportunity. If I'm comparing Israel even to other very advanced countries, what I'm seeing here that is missing there is that pipeline that continue to create more and more ideas, more and more startups. And that is different than other domains.
Where do you feel that the cybersecurity field is moving in Israel in different verticals here? And what do you feel is Israel needs for the future in order to keep up its growth, in order to keep up being the number one in the field, and grow another 20% next year and next year and next year.
We need to bring new people to the whole domain, and this is why we're looking and talking to you guys. We're looking for people who will make Aliyah, come to Israel, bring fresh blood, fresh perspectives. To my opinion, cyber will not stay in the boring domain. Most people think about cyber as firewall, antiviruses, these types of solutions. What we're seeing is that cyber is getting into becoming a new cross-discipline domain. I'm seeing very exciting startups in domains like life science, in genetics, in quantum physics, in all our domains, which means opportunity is lying over there. We just need to kind of do the matching between that person from the life science team and the cyber guy, and with that, create a new startup and a new idea. I think that a good startup starts with a good team. I will not surprise anyone by saying that the first thing that we're actually checking when observing a new startup or discussing the pitch is how is the team built. We're looking for the right mix of people, which means you need, of course, to have the technology guys, but you also need the people with the drive, the leaders, people who will know how to adapt and how to adjust. Because in most startups, there is at least one pivot or two down the road, and if the team is a strong team, then they will be able to adjust to any kind of hurdle, any type of challenge, and will know how to grow the company. In general, I think that in Israel we're excellent in conceiving and creating new startups, but I think that the next big thing that Israel will need is to know how to scale those and make those large companies. This is exactly the type of knowledge that we're bringing in. CyberGuild is built on people who came from the industry, not finance analysts, etc. So we possess a good knowledge and a good experience of what the corporates are looking for and what is needed to grow the young startups to become something that will fit into their bloodline.